friends, today we are talking about a substance that has every realtor waking up in the middle of the night in a flop sweat: asbestos. Yes, the substance that shall not be named is every realtor's kryptonite and has the power to kill any real estate deal just short of the finish line. Asbestos is a material that was used from the 1940s to the 1980s, and because of its heat resistance, its strength, and its insulating properties, it made it an ideal candidate for materials such as roof shingles, insulation, siding, and flooring. It was also used for drywall compound and ceiling stipples, so if you're in an older home, there's a fair chance that you're surrounded by this stuff right now. So what's the problem? Well, in '99 it was discovered that asbestos was a carcinogen, which meant that it can cause cancer. And of course, by '99, I'm speaking about the year 1899. That's right, Wilf Laurier was PM. Ottawa looked like this when the first case of asbestos-related disease, described as curious bodies on the lungs, was detected. Curious indeed. And the first case of asbestosis and lung cancer that was directly attributable to asbestos exposure was discovered in 1935 in the United States. But not to worry, fellow Canadians, the government got right to work and banned all materials containing asbestos a mere 44 years later in 1979. So, should you be worried? Well, I would invite you to do your own research, but the general consensus is that it only becomes dangerous when asbestos-containing materials are disturbed and the tiny fibers are released into the air. If inhaled, these fibers can become lodged in your lungs and cause lung cancer or mesothelioma. That's why it's important to understand what materials contain asbestos and how to properly handle them, which means don't handle them. Now, the materials are separated into friable versus non-friable. Friable generally is more dangerous and requires more immediate attention, whereas non-friable poses less risk and can be managed a little more safely. But why would people put this stuff in their homes, you ask? Well, take a look at these advertisements from the 50s for asbestos siding, asbestos roofing, asbestos heart surgery. And here's Bing Crosby pouring a bag of Zonulite into his attic, in a suit and tie no less. That's how easy it was, folks. Good, and good for you. And this is why it can be hard to tell if a house has vermiculite insulation, which is what this Zonulite is. Because even if a builder didn't use it during construction, the homeowner could have still jumped in the Chevy, driven down to the Home Hardware, bought a couple bags of this stuff, and then proceeded to spread it around their attic the same way you'd spread salt on the ice in your driveway. So how does this affect a real estate transaction? Well, if we're talking about a house that's in this era we've discussed, it's good to do a little exploration to determine if your house may contain some of these materials. Now, we generally assume the duct wrapping to contain asbestos, but if you find vermiculite in your attic, it's generally good practice to have it tested to confirm if it actually does contain asbestos. Now, if the vermiculite is found to contain asbestos, it's generally the rule that the seller will bear the cost of the remediation, which can be quite extensive and expensive. Now, the cost to remove all the vermiculite insulation, do an air quality test, dispose of that, blow back in R60 insulation, costs about $15 a square foot. So for the average house, you're looking at $12,000 to $15,000 for the job, and it takes about a week worth of work from start to finish. Now, for the adventurous types, this is not a home handyman job. Call a professional company that's trained in dealing with these materials. You don't want to be messing around in that attic. Thanks for watching. If I've missed anything or you have a comment, leave one below, and I'll see you next time. Off to do some realtoring.